This man unalived an entire family except for the 13-year-old daughter who he kept in his basement on a pile of leaves. It's time to talk true crime, and this is the case of Matthew Hoffman, aka the Leaf Killer. It's November 10th of 2010 near Knox County or Howard, Ohio, and Tina Herman does not show up for work. This is not like her. She's a super reliable employee, so immediately her boss, Valerie Haythorne, notices this and thinks, I'm just going to go check on her. This is weird. I'm just going to go make sure she's okay. So she heads to her house, and Tina's car is in her driveway along with another unknown car. Her lights are on, but Tina's not coming to the door. The next day, November 11th, still no sign of Tina. This is getting serious. This is not just Tina went away for a day or two. Valerie, Tina's boss, is very concerned at this point. So she gets into the home through a back window, and when she gets inside, she sees blood everywhere. It is everywhere. She immediately exits the house and calls authorities. They tell her to stay outside, do not go back in the house, and she's waiting on the driveway.
Sheriff Barber's office.
Yes, this is Valerie Haythorne. One of my employees did not show up for work this afternoon, which is totally uncharacteristic of her. I'm out of her house now. I just went in her home because I'm so worried about her. There is blood everywhere.
After getting Valerie's call about the excessive amounts of blood within the home, police obviously at this point enter. There is major cause for concern, and right when they get inside, it is deemed a crime scene. There is blood everywhere, leading from the front door, on the carpet. So they think, we need to check on her kids. Where are they? Cody, her 11-year-old son, and Sarah, her 13-year-old daughter, were at school on November 10th, but now that's November 11th, they didn't show up. A man calls into authorities and says, my girlfriend is missing. I'm very concerned, not sure where she could be. His girlfriend was Stephanie Spring, which was Tina's very best friend, and the two were last known to have been together. By Friday, November 12th, this is now a missing person situation. They are now looking for Tina, her two kids, Cody and Sarah, and Stephanie. Their dog is also missing. And they are searching for clues, and they find Walmart bags with tarps and heavy duty trash bags. Inside, they also find a receipt for the purchase. So now they are going to Walmart to see if they can get some security footage, find any sort of evidence as to who made this purchase. Obviously, police look into significant others first, which is understandable. So they look into Tina's boyfriend slash ex-boyfriend. They were going through a breakup. He lived with her. So why wasn't he at home? His name was Gregory Borders, and his alibi was confirmed. He was an hour and a half away in West Jefferson. He was working, and then he had plans to golf the next day. So he had stayed with a friend in Urbana. So this is all an hour and a half to 2 hours away, and he was ruled out pretty much immediately. I would like to note, while police were searching the home, they do notice that her vehicle is now gone. Tina's car is not in the driveway at this point, and it is later discovered at Kenyon College abandoned. So Walmart does have security footage of the person making this purchase. So now they have a suspect. It is a 25 to 40-year-old man. He has brown hair, he's wearing a camouflage shirt, and he goes out into the parking lot and gets into a Toyota Yaris. They're not able to get a clear image of the license plate through the security footage, but authorities start thinking, how many people in Knox County, Ohio have a Toyota Yaris registered to them? So they get into a database, look through who owns a Toyota Yaris, and the last name on the list is Matthew Hoffman, a 30-year-old man. In his recent driver's license photo that pulls up with cars registered to his name, he was wearing the same shirt that he was wearing in the security footage, so it was pretty certain it was him. They start looking into Matthew Hoffman, and they discover that in 2001 he had been charged with arson, burglary, assault, stealing a vehicle in Colorado. He was let out on parole. Back in Ohio, he had a living girlfriend who had recently accused him of DV. So he had a criminal past, and he had been working for a tree trimming company, but had also gotten fired from this for making coworkers uncomfortable. So they were able to get the two addresses that his name was associated with, and it was his mother's house and his house. And his ex-girlfriend, confirmed that he no longer lived with his mother. So they get a search warrant for his home and break in during the day. They get inside, and he's in there, he's asleep, and they discover a weird scene. It is mass amounts of leaves all over his home, pinned up on the wall, all over the floors, and not just like a couple. I'll put a picture. I mean, thousands. And neighbors reportedly said there's not a lot of trees around, so he had to have been hauling these from different locations. Like I said, he was a tree trimmer, but regardless, weird obsession. They also find popsicles and unalived squirrels in the fridge. That's really all that was in the home. But obviously, they are looking for clues of where the family could be, where Stephanie could be, and they notice that there are things pushed up against the basement door. They move this, they go down, and they find 13-year-old Sarah, and she's alive. She's on a massive pile of leaves with a little blanket coating, and luckily, she's unharmed other than being bound with bungee cords. There weren't any signs of the rest of the family in the home, and Sarah was clearly disoriented and in shock when she was first discovered by authorities. Very understandably, she said, "I'm late for school." That was her first thought when authorities found her. And later, she starts recounting everything that had happened and says she was SA'd. They had watched a movie. He gave her a book. I believe it was Treasure Island. And Matthew is saying that she had just showed up in his home. He wasn't sure how she had gotten there and that he thought she was comfortable. He would love to sleep on that bed of leaves. So once Sarah is in a safe, calm place, she starts to recount her experience on November 10th when the tragedy all occurred, trying to help piece together where her family could possibly be. She says that her and her little brother Cody had gotten home from school. There were some groceries on the ground in the kitchen when all of a sudden a man appears from around the corner. I cannot imagine the pure fear of just seeing a random man in your home, obviously not there with good intent. So this poor little girl runs and hides in her room. She's just waiting there and she hears sounds from what she thinks is coming from the bathroom. And eventually he comes back for her. He takes her and ties her up, bounds her hands and her feet so she cannot really move, puts her in a vehicle and takes her and leaves her at a parking lot. And eventually he comes back in a different vehicle, puts her in that vehicle, and then takes her to his home. Sarah had no idea what had happened to her family, but obviously she did know that that man was not there with good intent after the things she had just gone through. Matthew at this point is in police questioning, but he's not talking. He's not answering the questions. For about 4 hours, he doesn't say a word. He uses hand signals saying his heart is broken.
Hurts. I don't. Is that your heart? You're saying heart? Broken. Your heart's broken? Because of what happened?
Okay. He does start talking about 4 hours in and says that he doesn't know what happened. He doesn't remember anything. He doesn't know how Sarah got into his home, but he took care of her.
I took care of her
At what point did you find her tied up in your house?
Thursday.
Thursday. Did you ask her? Did you speak with her about, what happened? How did you get here? Anything like that?
She said I'd done it. I figured I'd done something I didn't know. I just could try to put pieces together.
The authorities, psychologists, everyone's trying to come up with tactics to get this man to confess or at least say where the bodies were. And I think people had hope that the rest of the family may still be alive somewhere because Sarah was just found alive. Maybe he's just hiding them, but he's not giving up anything until he starts trying to negotiate with a policeman.
So, I saw some really disgusting stuff in the big garbage can. I was hoping I could make some excuse for you to get home.
He tries to convince a policeman to do a little scheme with him. He will tell the authorities where the rest of the family is if he gets to go out with them and he gets to fake an escape where the policeman would fire at him and unalive him. Obviously, that didn't happen. Matthew had been saying that he didn't know where the rest of the family was. He didn't remember. He wasn't sure. But slowly later on, he does start confessing to some things. He does admit that a lot of his story was a lie that he told to try to get police to participate in his little scheme and unalive him. He was just trying to get out of the situation, basically. In a written confession later, he also says that he had slept in the woods across from Tina's home, noticed that the garage door was broken, and was planning to break in. When Tina left in the morning, he did just that. He broke in through the garage door, and their little dog would not stop barking, so he unalived the dog. And then Tina and Stephanie returned home from the grocery store, and they were unalived at this point as well. He then says that matters got even worse for his burglary plan because Sarah and Cody returned home from school, and he admits that he unalived 11-year-old Cody and tied Sarah up and took her.
Later, I found out that he had laid me on their dead bodies in the car.
He was surprised by Tina and Stephanie returning home and poked them to the point of unaliving, as well as 11-year-old Cody. He continues to claim that he did not go there to unalive anyone. He was just there to burglarize the home. But why do you need tarps and heavy-duty trash bags to burglarize a home? That's not adding up. He left the home to go get cans of gasoline, and he planned to burn the home down, but an officer stopped him on the way back, so he decided to go home and he had a bonfire, drank a bottle of wine. He had just unalived an entire family and kidnapped a little girl, and he went and drank a bottle of wine by the fire. November 18th, he decides to tell authorities where the rest of the family is, where their bodies are, and he directs them to Kokosing Wildlife Area and says to look in a hollowed out beech tree. Authorities find the tree. There is a hole in it up off the ground, and they get inside the tree, cut out a hole, and they find trash bags, which were filled with the dismembered bodies of Tina, Stephanie, Cody, and Tanner the dog. In January of 2011, Matthew pled guilty to the unalivings of Tina, Stephanie, and little Cody. Obviously, he could not be tried for Tanner, the poor little baby dog, but he got life in prison without the death penalty. Rest in peace to Tina, Stephanie, Cody, and their dog, Tanner. I can't imagine coming home to your safe space, the place you feel the most peace, and just being brutally attacked by a man with no cause. I hope they rest in peace. And I hope that Sarah is living a full life and has had some sort of peace come over her and that she's been able to overcome the tragedies that she had to endure.